Welcome to our presentation on the topic Decision-Making Uncertainty under the Reflection of Globalization using Artificial Intelligence in Companies' Business Planning. My name is Rudolf GRUENBICHLER and we worked on this paper together with my colleague BENABED. What is the initial situation for our research work? Decisions are made every day in companies, but also in everyday life. The decisions are usually based on processed information, for example, from the controlling department. The COVID-19 crisis, for example, showed that the decisions are made very based on information that typically did not take such crisis scenarios into account. Corporate budgets lose their validity from one day to the next. The question now arises as to how such scenarios should be taken into account in decision making. Specifically, we are concerned here with the preparation of corporate planning and the use of AI for information processing. The object of knowledge can also be taken from the figure and is figure 3 in our paper. It is about the intersection between decision theory, corporate planning and artificial intelligence. We start in this area and look at how they are connected and what the state of research is. Based on our initial situation mentioned at the beginning, we are interested in the question of what possibilities are available with the help of AI to incorporate uncertainty into planning situations and thus improve the quality of the basis for decision making. As a method, we choose a systematic literature search by processing the current status of publications listed in Scopus. We did not restrict the period of investigation. However, since we conducted the search at the beginning of 2022, all indexed papers up to 2021 are included. In the literature search process, we were guided in particular by the papers of Wright et al., Snyder and Webster and Watson, which provide a systematic overview and instructions for systematic literature search. Once the research questions had been formulated, a research protocol was drawn up. The protocol is used to systematically identify papers and avoid bias before starting the literature review. The procedure in a research protocol can be described as an iterative process with 4 steps: search, screening, data extraction, and data analysis. For step 1, the database was selected and keyword chains were created. Scopus was used for the database as many papers in the field of economics are indexed there. The next step was to select the keywords for the research topic. The keywords were first derived from the research question with the 3 key terms: artificial intelligence, uncertainty, and business planning. The keywords were supplemented with synonyms so that papers with other terms but the same content can also be found. To narrow down the search results, the keywords had to be adapted in an iterative process. The keywords and search terms defined in this table were therefore used for the search. The keyword decision and theory, for example, were not included in the search because they yielded too many non-specific hits. These 2 words in particular appear in a large number of papers. The paper selection process can be seen in this figure. Starting with the general keywords, the first searches yielded about 5,000 papers. After narrowing down the search terms, more exact hits were obtained, namely 724. The focus was also on English language papers, as papers in other languages could not be processed due to the lack of knowledge of foreign languages. Furthermore, the focus was placed on scientific, that means peer-reviewed papers, so papers and conference papers, as these have undergone quality assurance. Since the topic of this decision theory and artificial intelligence is also represented in other disciplines, the focus was narrowed down to the area of business, management and accounting. The remaining papers were screened with regards to title and abstract. Those papers that contained the keywords but were not related to the research question were removed. The result of this process is 12 papers that are relevant to the research question. Let's have a look on the results. So these results here, these figures are from the paper. Based on the 12 selected papers, which are in line to answer the research question, 3 were published as conference papers and 9 as contributed papers. In 2020, half of these papers were published. This is in figure 4. Regarding the origin of the contributions, it can be seen that most of them come from China, France, the Netherlands, Spain, the United Kingdom, and the United States. Figure 5. This suggests that know-how in this field is being built up in these countries and that an increased number of applications can be expected in the future. Another interesting topic is the contributions according to the subject area. Figure 6 shows, also due to the search restriction, that all 12 papers are assigned to the field of business, management and accounting. Not surprisingly, however, the papers are also frequently assigned to decision theory, engineering and computer science. On this slide, we see roughly the approach as well as the core result of our research. First, we transferred the papers we found into the reference management software Mendeley. There we went through each individual paper. Papers that did not meet our research question due to the abstract or title were moved to the irrelevant folder. For papers where it was unclear, we tried to get the original paper and look through it. The relevant papers were then obtained and prepared in Microsoft Excel. In particular, we looked at the algorithms used, the field of applications, and the goal and the purpose. Let's come to the end of the presentation, which is the conclusion and discussion. The paper shows that AI is becoming an increasingly important part of everyday business. The evaluation of the papers shows that research is mainly being done on machine learning algorithms. Support vector machines are also produce good results. However, a mixture of several algorithms is usually used, for example for data processing and subsequent forecast calculation. The classical application in the field of economics focuses on demand or sales planning, where the uncertainty of the environment with respect to demand is the main concern. Most of the papers here deal with industrial enterprises. There were 2 papers in the field of management and only 1 paper in trading companies. Furthermore, only 1 paper dealt with uncertainty in a crisis situation. However, it can be seen that the logic of algorithms related to demand uncertainty, for example, can be applied to crisis situations. It also shows that AI is no longer only used in production and sales-related areas, but is also finding its way into the management level, for example, by being used to formulate strategies. Overall, it can be summed up that there is still a lot of potential in this area and that some more papers can be expected in the future. The papers and method papers used can be seen on this slide, although these are only an excerpt from the paper. We thank you for your attention and look forward to questions. In addition, if you're also researching this topic, we would be happy to share experiences.